So Dakota, Will, I know this is a topic of interest to both of you, and we've had lunches and discussions to sort of unpack this a little bit, but for those that might be interested, I want to get your thoughts on the metaverse. Inherent in that, maybe your advice for enterprises trying to understand its relevance to their business, and maybe suggestions on how to get started and engage in the virtual world.
Yeah, absolutely. So my first thought when thinking about the metaverse comes to definitions. There's a lot of definitions out there that share some commonalities, but what exactly is the metaverse, right? So some shared definitions that you will hear are it's a place where you will have a sense of presence, whether that be through an avatar or some other means, and it also incorporates or augments reality. So there's different modalities that there's ideas going around about how to interface with the metaverse, but that's the idea. And I'm personally of the mind that we already are in the metaverse. Since the first round of social computing, you can see games and technologies like Second Life or Internet Relay Chat, where people are connecting in a present room, right? Chat rooms. So I'm personally of the mind that we're in the metaverse, but we are currently, and lots of companies out there are exploring and experimenting with different modalities on how they're going to interact in different ways. And there are a variety of ways. So a few are virtual reality headsets, augmented reality glasses. There are haptic gloves that are going to be ways to engage physically with, digital items or whatever in games. There's also, leaps and bounds in what we're able to do in iPad or iPhone, Android. The AR technology there is fantastic, and it's increasing in fidelity every year. When I think about how businesses can understand how this might relate to them, my first instinct is to suggest experimental play to truly understand, yes, this is a headset, but what does it feel like to wear the headset? There are stores that do offer virtual reality demos, or some arcades even have, like Dave & Buster's has virtual reality experiences driven by the Oculus Rift. So you can get to experience the hardware and understand, is this something that could be relevant to what my business is doing? So that's one way to be exposed to the technology that's out there. Another avenue to understanding how it could relate to your business is checking out some of the content that's online. There are a lot of proof of concept demos being shared on LinkedIn, YouTube, TikTok, a lot of the short form content platforms like Reels. But you can see what people do are proof of concept demos that show us continuously improving the technology in this shared presence augmented reality space. Niantic Labs, the creator of Pokemon Go, they released an SDK a couple of years ago that I've been wanting to play with. So I think paying attention to the news in these spaces and what companies are doing in their research and development labs, and seeing perhaps opportunities for your own experimentation is a fantastic place to start.
Well, what are your thoughts?
I think the metaverse is definitely in its infancy, and it's exciting, and it's definitely in its experimental stage. But when I say that, I know that some people might be thinking to themselves, well, we don't know how this is going to permutate, how this is going to, settle. So I'm just going to sit back and relax. But the people who are now building in this world, people who are now imagining and pushing that future forward are going to be the winners in this space. Right now, we can kind of see the pastures there, but there hasn't been a land grab yet because people don't know what land to grab. But I think it's pretty easy to imagine how this can be incorporated into the mainstream of the business workspace, like things like, and we've already seen some degrees of this, but it hasn't gone mainstream yet. You can see this in real estate property tours. You can see this in workplace training, but nobody has really established themselves as the leaders in this space, or no one's gotten far enough to make this mainstream, to make a competitive moat in this area. So I think that's what makes it very exciting. And I think that, this is kind of a big opportunity for organizations that want to really push this future forward. But for me, just going back, I think my definition of the metaverse is a little different from Dakota's. Just because when I think of the metaverse, it seems to be, a very immersive experience, right? As opposed to, although I guess some people include the augmented reality as part of the metaverse, but I think of it's kind of, the movie Player One, where the guy is, in a completely different world with a completely different identity and so forth like that. I think that there is room for that, but the metaverse right now for me is Oculus Quest and exploring, whatever avenues are currently available, which are mostly in the gaming world. But that's what's going on.
Yeah. I think that raises a great point about the metaverse, like what is going to keep users or end users coming back to these experiences. And you're finding a lot of strength in the gaming department because those, like you said, those experiences are so immersive and get you so engaged since it's a game, that games seem to be thriving. But yeah, I completely agree. This is a space that is yet to be won, and this is a great opportunity for organizations to experiment and figure out what they want.
Yeah,
those are all great thoughts. When I think about it, when you talk about experimentation, I think of the days when iOS mobile apps came out and everyone had a group of people creating Android apps, and that was like the Skunkworks project. Now I think about things like data and data engineering is a proven type of math. It's linear regression. It's a set of tools that need to be brought into mainstream, not really experimented with. I think you guys are right as I think about the metaverse. The concepts, I think it all comes down to use cases. Like, what is the practical use case that creates stickiness of an experience that brings you back, that it's actionable, measurable, reportable, repeatable. And I think about things, I think we've noodled some of this about, we live in the virtual world during the COVID era, and having a virtual meeting, I don't know if you can bring something into a metaverse meeting and then take it out, sort of like the old days of being able to print boards in a conference room, or now you can actually send them to an email or some other digital repository. I also have thought about, and this is just to throw an idea, what if we delivered our proposals as an artifact with new hardware so that people could try it out? Would that be unique as an experience in the physical sense to bring them into a digital sense, and they get to see all of us talk about the solution? What if we could do the Q&A in that world? So I spend time thinking about what is the practicality of a business use case, and in the context of experimentation, could we differentiate ourselves as a company by helping people just start to participate? And so really exciting to think about.
Yeah, absolutely.